I mean, they didn't do anything that surprised me. I think when you look at the offensive line, it's the same thing as the secondary, who would be like probably the weakness on defense. Well, no. Actually, I don't believe that. I think the weakness is still inside linebacker.
Yeah. It's definitely still, and nose tackle. I think
I think I'm fine with that, to be honest.
With just Tyson?
No, but I think Adams. I think.
Adams. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right. I do forget about Monty Adams a lot.
If Alu can literally just play first downs, and and
that's
then
all he's got to do.
You use Adams. You use Adams as the guy that can play kind of as that reserve. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that for sure. I think the offensive line is kind of similar a little bit as corner for the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to have some. My question for corners: what's the future of the secondary? I really don't know what that is, and they didn't take a safety either. But just look at the roster. Look at the roster. Let's think about this from left to right. So Levi, he's on a 2-year deal, but next year his deal jumps up.
Yep.
All right. You got Minka. They're going to pay Minka. Not even worried about that. We're not even going to discuss that. Terrell Edmonds, cheap 1-year deal. Okay. KZ, cheap 1-year deal. Then you got Cam Sutton. He's on an expiring contract. Ahkello Witherspoon, 2-year deal. His deal jumps up next year. So, what's the plan long term? I mean, and then you look at the guys behind him. James Pierre got benched last year. We'll see if he makes the roster. Justin Lane, fighting to make the roster. Really hasn't shown anything on defense.
Last year of his contract.
Yeah, last year of his contract. So, my
Arthur
question
Millette.
My question was, at least, you do have Trey Norwood, who I think is going to be kind of like a utility man in sub, but I don't know what the future of this secondary is going to look like, and that's I think next year, depending on how some of these guys play, you could be looking at that like a huge need to where they may need to go out and get 1 to 2 free agents, and then go get, a first or second round corner or safety. So,
but I think they did put themselves in position to, and I like Nathan's comment here is that they build up front like they do. That's how the Steelers defense has always operated. But I think that next year's first round pick is they're built so that it could be a cornerback if need be. The issue here is that, and you might know better than I don't know what the cornerback class looks like next year. And they have a rather terrible history of getting in positions where they desperately need a secondary player and then reaching for a terrible secondary player because they just need to fill the role. And I think next year they're not looking at 1, they're looking at 2 positions now, and could be 3, because if you need 2 cornerbacks and a safety, that could be your first 3-round picks, and then you're going to plug them all in just like they did with Artie Burns and Sean Davis that year. And we all know how that worked.
The question isn't about, as far as corner goes, Pittsburgh's banking on their pass rush being elite. And I mean, there's really no reason. If Tuitt's healthy and ready to go, there's no reason that it shouldn't be. The problem is, in order to stop elite quarterbacks, you have to be able to play man coverage. They have one man-to-man player in their secondary right now. Even Minka just functions better as the deep, a half field or split field safety. Honestly, so he's able to play center field and play safety, but he's not really playing guys man-to-man. They don't use him like that. And then the rest of their secondary, Ahkello's really the only guy that plays better at man-to-man than zone. So that's the question. Are you going to be able to go to Buffalo in the playoffs, provided they get there? Are you going to be able to go to Kansas City and match up with those receivers? You know what I'm saying? Zone, we've seen that so many times, just against Tom Brady and those Pats teams.
Yeah.
You can't play zone against elite quarterbacks, man. So that's, to me, that's where I really question the future of the secondary. What are we looking at here? Are we playing all zone coverage like they did last year? I mean, their defense wasn't very good last year, and that's kind of why that was. Yeah, Casey's a good ball player. He's a good ball player in terms of ball production, but I don't think he's a great cover guy in my opinion. But
no, I don't.
He's opportunistic though. The Duke can come up with turnovers. That's good.
Yo, forcing fumbles and interceptions. When I looked at his stats, I was like, wow, this guy. Because like his name was floated out there for a while, and I was just like, all right, like this could be an option. He's obviously had enough success to start some games. And then I looked at his stats. I was like, 7 forced fumbles. Like you're a free safety.
Yeah,
7. That's ridiculous. Like the dude does have some ability to create turnovers. Not a true tackler.
Casey's a bad tackler. So, like I think people crack me up because they talk about Edmonds, how he can't tackle, but Edmonds isn't really sure tackler. But Casey's legitimately a bad tackler. You take the good with the bad with him. He's gonna be like he's got good ball production, he's got good ball skills, but he's a bad tackler. I will say to your point about the corner class for next year, I've already looked at a couple guys because this is what I do. But I watched one of my guys from last year that I love, Garrett Williams out of Syracuse. He went back to school. He's a guy that I think will get first round love. And then I watched Cam Smith from South Carolina. He's kind of interesting. Bigger dude, really likes to play bump and run. And then probably the best guy that I've watched so far was Kaylee Ringo from Georgia.
Oh, Georgia.
He was the guy that got that 79 pick six in the national championship game. And I watched him, man. That dude's a mover. Like
he's big too, right? Isn't he like 6'3"?
He is a freaky mover for his size. I think they list him at 6'2". I'm not really sure if he's 6'2". He may be getting that college bump, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he's definitely over 6 foot, and the way that he can move, man, he's twitched up. Like he's got really good long speed. Jason Noah Daniels, another dude that I really liked, but man, he can't stay healthy, bro. He can't stay healthy. That's a problem.
Yeah, it's a concern. That's definitely a concern. There are names though, which is fun. You know what I mean? Especially with you, because we could dive into those at some point here.
It'll be really fun, and then we'll talk about it all season, and they'll pass on another corner, and then we'll be playing zone coverage again next year.
Yeah. They'll draft like an outside linebacker to just be the third guy behind Alex Highsmith.
Hey, bring me Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. We can take an edge if it's Foskey or Nolan Smith from Georgia. We can take an edge in round 1. I'll be all right with that.